So there's certain things we'll give and there's certain things we won't. But if you allow us to make that decision, so that we know that we're going to give them as much as we can, as much that is proper, that won't hurt us, okay, so that you can get paid. And why I say I won't hurt us, I'll tell you. Because, and this is a hypothetical, I don't know if this is true, but if you happen to have a medical director that's cheap, and he charges you $200 a month and you've done a great job of negotiating with him and you got it, and then you tell the insurance company, they're going to say, oh my God, that's too cheap, he's not doing his work. So I don't want to give him that price. You got one that you give $10,000 a month to, they're going to say, he's an owner. He's making too much. Because we're talking about insurance companies that are looking every moment, whatever they can grab onto. Any questions on 6B requests? And what you have to do, you have to respond.
I'm sorry I had to come in late because I just got off work. But would you go over the sworn statement again, please?
Oh, the sworn statement is verbatim in the statute. All right? And the statute says, such sworn statement shall read as follows, quote, under penalty of perjury, I declare that I have read the foregoing and the facts alleged are true to the best of my knowledge and belief. And the facts are that you're saying, I as a doctor, chiropractor, DO, whatever, this treatment that is provided is reasonable in price, is related to an auto accident, and it's necessary. Those are the three factors in PIP. Those are the three magic words. For you to get paid, the treatment must be reasonable in price. And of course, there's all kinds of litigation with the Medicare fee schedule. Related to a car accident, okay? And necessary. In other words, you did not give chemotherapy to the patient because he has whiplash. That's not necessary. So, and that's like a real extreme thing, all right? Necessary because you gave the massages, you gave the hot packs, you gave the cold packs, you gave the ultrasound, you gave the EMS, all that is available for these types of injuries. Okay? This is something, I don't know if any of you has ever gone to a PIP trial, but when I go to trial, I have to establish that. I have to sit the doctor on the stand, and I go through all the treatment and everything else, and at the end I go, doctor, within a reasonable degree of medical probability, was this treatment reasonable? Yes. Was all this treatment we talked about related? Yes. And was it necessary? Yes. I've proved my case. They have to disprove it, and I've done my job. So what they're asking is that affidavit. It's something that's funny because earlier in PIP, when the PIP statute was even more easier for you to get paid and didn't have so many obstacles, back in the early 80s, everybody, all the doctors gave those affidavits with the billing. They would attach the billing and they would put a statement. All this treatment was reasonable, related, and necessary, so help me God. Notarized, gone, and they would do that. Then they started not doing it because the statute didn't require it, and we lawyers, PIP lawyers said, hey, why are you doing that? Don't do that. Please, don't do that. Why? Well, because the day that you didn't on one specific case, they're going to say, ha-ha, this wasn't because you did it on all the other ones, and this one you can do it. You know, we set a pattern that they're going to, but anyway, they grabbed on and put it in. Yes.
So once you have established in a sworn statement those three areas that we just discussed, can under the 6B an insurance company request a more detailed asking why was this there be done, how many units we used, how many minutes and so forth, and they want that sworn also? Because that's what I'm getting now. They asked why I...
Joe. And then, I don't think so.
Well, I've seen a lot of time-based defenses, and really that's a matter for
The courts.
CPT code, and what the responsibilities for billing are there. In terms of producing any extra evidence to support that, the answer is no.
So I
In the
have,
6B response, you have provided the HICFAs, you have provided the treatment notes, the SOAP notes, whatever that
Initial
you're
exams,
using,
whatever.
and these are reasonable, related, and necessary. For them to question you on each bill, no. No. Well, and you weren't here for the very beginning. A response of you're not entitled to this information is a response. Okay? So, but this is what is happening is that there's a complete disregard of this 6B request, because some of you have said, like, I just looked at that State Farm one that you see there, and basically they're asking for probably stuff that they had already, and I see you guys saying, well, they already got this. And throw it out. But you can't do that. Once you read in the letter 6B, ding, 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 you know, they're trying to get away without that. Now, you weren't here yet.
I had to work.
I know, but I got good news.
Okay.
All right, we were going to start, if you're looking at your little blue book, all about the onerous PIP bill that was up in front of the house. We won. Yes. Yesterday, the House voted in the Health and Human Services Committee, and they didn't make it out of commission. They killed the bill.
I don't know what the bill was.
You have this blue thing, you can read all the stuff right in the front. That was what we were going to discuss from the very beginning, about how we need to get behind and call congressmen and call everything, but you don't know. So I'm glad. A little bit. Anyway, okay, so any more questions as far as 6B? I want this very clear, very, very clear. All right? We need a power source. We're running out.
One more.
All right? All right, you gotta solve that. All right? Anyway, I want to be very clear. My office in Orlando is open for you guys to fax it to Joe or email it. He will detail out what you need to answer, and then you put it on your letterhead. All right, you just put it on your letterhead and send it. All right, you sign it and send it. Again, it's for the same price. I'm not going to charge you extra. I promise. Okay? It comes in the package deal as your lawyer. All right? This law firm is your lawyers. I try to keep telling you that. All right? This law firm is your lawyers. It's for everything. We will advise you. I don't do all kinds of law, but I will get you somebody that will, and I will get you somebody that's going to be good. So I don't want you guys getting into trouble with things that, be in trouble. There's a couple of, I think we have in Tampa, 1 or 2 clients of mine that were arrested improperly, and I found them somebody who, they're clear, and they're back in business. They're doing business. They were arrested improperly. It was wrong. It was State Farm's move, because now we'll talk about their move.
Neil, before you go beyond the 6 feet, a couple of small points.
That,
I hope everybody understands that a sworn statement means that the statement has to be notarized by a notary under the penalties of perjury. That's a sworn statement. So anybody that has a clinic, it would behoove you to make sure that somebody in the clinic is a notary. The statute also provides for the payment of reasonable costs to be reimbursed to the clinic for having to provide this documentation in response to the 6B request. And in the way we do business, the first 5 pages are 25 cents, and every page after that's $1. And if you have to pay an employee an hourly rate, and it took an hour to compile these records and copy these records, then that cost should be added too, and the invoice.
you send an invoice with
The
it.
invoice should go to the insurance company. They're obligated by statute to pay for it. Last but not least, I would recommend the clinics keep a separate file for all the 6B requests they do get, because the statute protects you from unnecessary 6B requests coming from insurance companies time and time and time again. And if we find that there's a pattern with a particular insurance company, they have no basis for sending out these 6B requests, and they do it as a general business practice, then that's not permitted by the statute, and that's not going to prevent you from getting paid for your bills.
Joe, real quick. Under the, I forgot my question. Keep going, I forgot my question. I get it.
I have those old people moments too.
Well, one other thing that I would, I'm going to stick my nose in here. This idea that you have to furnish a written report, there's not a lot of litigation under this particular statute, so we don't really have a lot of guidance. And there's some difference of opinion as to whether or not that provision that you provide a written report is separate from producing the medical records, okay? And for those clinics that don't have some sort of initial evaluation of the patient in written form with a history, exam, diagnosis, and plan, and all you have is some sort of check-off system that, say, for instance, a chiropractor might use, you may run into some problems with that down the road. So if I was you all and I had a chiropractor treating my patients, I would start thinking along the lines, can we get the chiropractor to be a little more specific with respect to the written report? And I can tell you from experience, having an initial evaluation from an MD or a chiropractor that lays out those elements goes a long way in establishing credibility for that diagnosis and plan, and the clinics that have that kind of documentation wind up getting paid more often than ones that don't. So somewhere, keep that in your back of your mind, that if you're interested in improving the record keeping of your office, consider asking the chiropractor to dictate or indicate on some form an initial evaluation.
So in the event that you're not doing the initials and everything, that's just a physician referring the patients to you, and you get the 6B request asking for all that, and our response would be referred to such and such patient person for that information, we have nothing to do with it, would be the
But and you have your
response.
reports, your soap notes and stuff like that. Those are your reports. You're not sending yours. You send them what you got. That's And if you're just a therapist, all right, you do that. Let me give you an example of medical treatment, medicine, anything having to do with medicine now is all about the reports and the paperwork. All of it. Now let me give you an example. A month ago, my cardiologist said, hey, it's time for a stress test. But you, particularly, I want to give a contrasting stress test. That's the one that they inject you all that iodine and it goes through and they take pictures and all that, and then you run and then they take more pictures and all that. My health insurance denied it. I said, nope.